So now we move on to the final part of the kit, and that's to put in the remaining components for the receive switch. And as you can see, I've removed the board from the heatsink in order to install those components, and I've actually gone ahead and installed them. So just some quick build notes on that, and then I'll move over to the actual function of the receive switch. So obviously there's a lot of diodes in this receive switch. You've got to make sure you get the orientation of all of those right. You don't want to mix any of those up. Transistor Q3 N-channel FET is installed on the underside of the board, face down, and the hole is pointing to this side of the board. So you've got to make sure that is right. And this is source, drain, and gate. So source, this guy here should be grounded. So that's the orientation of that. And then the only other final thing is some of these 2-watt resistors are a little bit hard to install. Again, it's hard to get them all the way into the board. But other than that, I mean, it is pretty straightforward. So I'll put that together. What I'll move on to next is a description of how the receive circuitry works. Okay, so I've got the receive switch centered in the video right now. And this component's main job is to, on transmit, make sure none of the transmitted signal makes its way back through here. Obviously, we don't want it going back through there. It can cause oscillations with the coming back through to the input of from the QCX. It could damage the QCX and so on. So on transmit, we want to make sure that this path is blocked, and on receive, we want to make sure this path has lower impedance as possible. So again, like elsewhere, these two 1N4007 diodes are used at the heart of the switch here. So basically, the way this works is, let's take the case of receive first. So on receive, we've got this signal is grounded up here. So what that does is, that means the gate of this transistor here is grounded, and thus this transistor is turned off. So when this transistor is turned off, the V+ signal flows up through this resistor here, through resistors R9 and R6, and presents V+ at this side of the diode and this side of the diode. At the same time, because we've effectively got V+ here, this transistor is turned on, pulling this part of the circuit to ground. So you can see in both cases we've got V+, or approximately V+ here, and here, which forwards biases these diodes, which allows any receive signal to pass through here. So on transmit, the situation is reversed. So on transmit, we have a 5-volt signal coming through here. That turns this transistor, Q5, on, and it grounds this line here. So when it grounds this line here, we've effectively turned this transistor off, and we've grounded these two lines here. Now, coming from the output of the amplifier, this output of the amplifier is sampled through here. There is a voltage doubler circuitry here which takes the peak-to-peak voltage coming from the amplifier, doubles it, rectifies it, and then presents it at point F here. And so what that effectively does is it reverse biases both of these diodes at twice any possible peak-to-peak output from the transmitter. So that effectively will turn both these diodes off and prevent any transmit signals from passing back through here. There's also this part of the circuit here where V+ comes through these two diodes here, and this is in the case where, for whatever reason, there's no signal coming from the amplifier here. So it just ensures that these diodes are reverse biased under all circumstances under transmit. So that's the function of the receive switch. What I'll do now is I'll put the board back in its enclosure, and we'll fire it up and we'll test some voltages. Okay, so that's all back in its enclosure. So let's test a few things. So the first thing I want to test is to make sure that the QCX is actually going to receive signals. Obviously that's most important. So I've got to be super careful here. I do have my signal generator set up at 7.020 megahertz, injecting a minus 90 dBm signal, but I've got to be super careful not to press the transmit switch because I don't want to blast my signal generator with 50 watts. So let me just turn the speaker up. So there you go, you can hear that signal. I'll adjust the frequency. Bear with me, just got to adjust that. So I was just adjusting the frequency. So obviously we've got a receive signal. So that's good. What I'll move on to next is testing some voltages and testing the power output of the amplifier. But let me just disconnect my signal generator before I accidentally transmit into it. Okay, so I've got the amplifier plugged into my dummy load. Same setup as before, signal coming from the QCX into RFN of the amp, the control line here, and then obviously the other power connections. So let's have a look at the intersection of D5 and D3, that point F that I spoke about before. So let's probe that. And you can see on a receive, it's close to ground, so 0.1 of a volt. So let's have a look at the other side of it, and what we'll see is roughly 0.8 of a volt. So that means the diode is forward biased. So that's why on receive where that signal is allowed to pass through. So let's try a transmit now. I'll probe at the intersection of D3 and D5 again, and let me press transmit. And you can see there 135 volts that's being presented at point F in between those two diodes. So basically what we're seeing is 135 volts right here. So that effectively reverse biases both these diodes and prevents any receive signal coming through this path here. So let's have a look at the transmit power again. I actually dialed the voltage back a bit. I'm only doing 18.5 volts, so it'll be the output signal will be a bit less. But this is just to confirm that the amplifier is still indeed working. So 114 volts through there. And you can hear obviously the side tone coming through on the QCX there. So let's press that again. 116 volts peak to peak at 18.5 volts input in the amplifier. So that's pretty much the kit built. I've had a lot of fun with this kit. It's been fun putting it together module by module. I actually did read the full instructions beforehand, and definitely that was a huge help in building the kit. And obviously, Hans's description of how the circuit works is amazing. It's so detailed that it really does allow you to understand what's going on under the covers. So a lot of fun building this up. Hope you enjoyed this video series, and hopefully as one of the commenters said, we're all looking forward to the SSB kit from QRP Labs. So I'd love for it to come out. I can't wait for it to come out, and I'll certainly be doing a build video when it does come out. All right, that's all for now.